Greetings, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. About a month ago, I made a video covering all the upcoming banners in Arknights. Today, I'm bringing you an updated version of that video, and you might be wondering why. Well, there are a few reasons. Since that video, the CN version has introduced several new operators. I'd like to include them in this updated list and evaluate their pull value. This time, I'll also include rerun and special banners to give you a more complete roadmap of upcoming banners. And the previous video had some audio issues and a minor mistake regarding a certain operator's information. I want to address and correct that in this video. With all that out of the way, let's dive right in and get started. So anyways, at the time of making this video, this joint operation banner is live on the global server. Following this, we can expect the release of Alanis banner, likely arriving in the first week of December. I've already discussed his kit along with some other operators in my previous video, so I won't go into that again here. While Alanis is undeniably a strong operator, his value varies depending on your needs. For some, he could be a must-pull, while for others, he might be skippable. If you're familiar with his abilities and feel he would be a good fit for your squad, pulling for him can certainly be a solid choice. After Alanis, we might see some adjustments to the banner schedule. In the CN version, the banners that came after his release were the Executor Altar Rerun, the Nymph's debut banner, and finally, this limited banner. However, with January being the global anniversary, where a limited banner is guaranteed, it's likely that at least one of these banners will be rescheduled. For now, though, we'll proceed by following the CN schedule as a reference. After Alanis, we'll have the Executor Altar Rerun banner. Executor Altar is a Reaper guard capable of holding a lane on his own without much assistance from other operators, which is one of the key strengths of this archetype. That being said, he's not necessarily a must-pull. The main reason is the timing. With the global anniversary banner likely following soon after, it's wise to save your resources for that. Limited banners often provide more value, so if you're aiming to pull on the limited banner, then saving as many resources as possible is essential. Anyways, moving on, we'll have the debut of Nymph, a new 6-star primal caster. As mentioned in my previous video, her kit comes with some notable drawbacks. To truly excel, she relies on having other operators in your team who can deal elemental damage. For this reason, I don't recommend her for new players. Even for the experienced players, it might be better to wait for her rerun or for her to appear in a different banner down the line, especially if you're not in immediate need of her unique abilities. Before we move on, I want you guys to know that a joint operation banner was released after Nymph in CN version. But I won't say anything about that banner for now, because you see, the current joint operation banner in the global server looks like this. But when it was released in CN server, it looked like this. They changed 3 operators, which might happen again in the future. So, let's keep our fingers crossed and wait for official confirmation before making any plans. Finally, we have the limited banner, which is guaranteed to arrive during the Arknights global anniversary, likely around mid-January. As usual, this banner will feature 2 new 6-star operators, 1 standard and 1 limited. In my previous video, I mistakenly mentioned that Narantuya is the first loop shooter sniper in the game, and I want to apologize for that error. What I meant to say is that she's the first loop shooter sniper in the 6-star rarity. As for whether you should pull for Narantuya or Peta, it really depends on what you're looking for in your account. I'll go into more detail about this at the end of the video, so make sure to stick around for that. Anyways, after the limited banner, we'll see the Dungeon Meshi collaboration banner, featuring Marcel as the 6-star operator. This banner is expected to arrive around early March next year. To be completely honest, I wouldn't spend too much time discussing this banner because my advice is simple: skip it. While it's technically a super limited banner, it's not worth your resources. If you've watched videos about Marcel's kit, you likely already understand why. For those who haven't, just trust me on this one. Add this banner to your skip list for now. Next up is the Jica Altar rerun, expected around mid to late March. If you already picked her up during her debut banner, you can confidently skip this one. For those who don't have her yet, I'd recommend holding off your pulls. With all the strong operators being introduced around this time, pulling for a defender might not be the best use of your resources, because the more damage you do, the less you need to heal and defend your lane. So, operators like Saria, Hashiguma, or even strong 4-star and 5-star defenders can cover your needs for a defender just fine. Plus, the timing of her rerun couldn't be worse. Right after her, we'll see 2 new banners that you'll definitely want to save your resources for. Before talking about those banners, I want to briefly mention another special banner that could run alongside Jica Altar, or what I like to call it, the bait banner. In this banner, you can select 3 6-star operators from the featured pool, and when you pull a 6-star, it's guaranteed to be one of your selected operators. It's similar to a joint operation banner, but with more freedom of choice. I refer to it as bait banner because Arknights has a habit of releasing these types of banners right before introducing a strong or highly anticipated operator. So, as always, be mindful of your pulls and try to control that gambling impulse. Now, let's move on to the last 2 banners in this list. After this, we're going to have Siege Altar in April and another limited banner featuring Lapland Altar and Vulpesfolia in early May next year. Let's talk about Siege Altar first. I have been waiting for this since the day I got my first 6-star operator in this game, which was Siege, of course, and I'm definitely getting her. She is overall a pretty balanced operator, and honestly, I prefer to have operators like her that provide something beneficial to the squad. Siege Altar, or also known as Vina Victoria, falls into the Arts Guard archetype, same as these 2. But trust me, if you get her, you will not be relying on her art's damage at all, because her most powerful skill is the 3rd skill, which literally allows her to deal true damage. And upon release, she will be the first operator in the game who will have consistent true damage in her kit without having any condition or limitation. She's easy and fun to use with no BS in her kit. Also does her job well, which makes her an operator you should consider pulling. And if you're skipping her, then let me know why. I would love to hear your thoughts. Next up, we have the limited banner featuring Lapland Altar as the limited 6-star and Vulpesfolia as the standard 6-star. To give you a quick overview of their kits, Vulpesfolia is a pioneer vanguard who combines both physical and arts damage in her kit. In addition to generating DP for the team, she also brings some powerful crowd control utility, which can be especially useful in specific stages where you need to handle pesky enemies. She has solid potential with a good mix of damage and crowd control, which is impressive for a vanguard. If you're pulling for Lapland Altar on this banner, I definitely recommend grabbing Vulpesfolia as well. She will be a great addition to your squad. Finally, we have our last operator on the list, Lapland Altar, also known as Lapland the Decadenza. For simplicity, I'll just call her Lapland from here on out. She's a 6-star Mecha Cord caster, the same archetype as Golden Glow, and yes, just like Golden Glow, she has global range, but with both Skill 1 and Skill 3. While Skill 1 offers global range, you'll likely be using Skill 3 most of the time, as it provides both strong damage and some crowd control. One of her standout features is that she retains the passive effect of silencing enemies from her guard form, but now, she can silence any enemy, anywhere on the map. With her combination of high damage, global range, and unique silencing ability, she's definitely a must-pull operator. I may consider making separate videos in the future to break down each operator's kit in detail, but we'll see how things go. Now that I'm done talking about all the banners and characters, let me share my thoughts on who you should pull. I'm sure many of you have already got Wissadel, who is a one-tap delete button herself. So, if you ask me, Ulpianus could be a great pick if you are planning to skip this banner, and if you have Abyssal Hunter squad. In that case, you can save your resources for the upcoming banners, and it'll be worth it. On the other hand, if you do plan to pull on this banner, you might want to skip Ulpianus. You have a chance to pull Pepe, who is a solid guard and can be incredibly useful with her big AoE damage and stunning capabilities. If you didn't manage to get Wissadel earlier and still need a strong sniper, you can consider pulling for Narantuya. Ultimately, whatever you choose, I suggest starting to save right after the limited banner so you'll be ready when those two major banners drop. If you manage to get all of the operators I've mentioned, you probably won't need to spend resources on any other banners or older operators. However, in rare cases, experienced players might want to pull for Nymph, especially if they have a team built around elemental damage. But that's just my take on things. At the end of the day, it's your account, so feel free to pull for whoever you want. You don't have to follow my advice word for word. I'd love to hear your plans going forward, so leave a comment down below. I'm always interested in hearing how others approach with their pulls. Anyways, that's all for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.